Hungary's parliament has ratified Sweden's bid to join NATO, ending more than 18 months of delays that frustrated the alliance as it sought to expand in response to Russia's war in Ukraine. Hungary's government submitted the protocols for approving Sweden's entry into NATO in 2022, but the matter had stalled in parliament over opposition by governing party lawmakers. Unanimous support among all NATO members is required to admit new countries, and Hungary is the last of its 31 members to give its backing. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says a ceasefire deal would only delay an Israeli military offensive in Rafah, southern Gaza. AP correspondent Karen Chamas reports.
As negotiations for a ceasefire continue, Israel is nearing the approval of plans to expand its offensive against Hamas to Rafah on the Gaza-Egypt border. More than half the besieged territory's population of 2.3 million have sought refuge in Rafah. Humanitarian groups warn of a catastrophe. Rafah is Gaza's main entry point for aid. The US and other allies say Israel must avoid harming civilians. Netanyahu's office said the army had presented to the war cabinet its operational plan for Rafah, as well as plans to evacuate civilians from the battle zones. I'm Karen Chamas.
Hamas is a U.S. designated terrorist group. Food aid and medical supplies were parachuted into Gaza on Monday by the Jordanian army, the biggest airdrop operation so far to deliver much-needed aid to millions of Gazans, mostly living in camps. The operation deployed 4 C-130 planes, including one belonging to the French Air Force, an army spokesperson said. This is VOA News. Poland's new foreign minister urged Warsaw's Western allies on Monday to step up aid to Ukraine in its war with Russia to ensure the conflict does not spill over the border elsewhere in Europe. The minister also again called on the Republican Speaker of the U.S. House of Representatives, Mike Johnson, who has so far blocked passage of a bill that includes $60 billion in funding for Ukraine, to allow a vote. A close ally of Russian opposition politician Alexei Navalny says he was close to being freed in a prisoner swap at the time of his death, but President Vladimir Putin could not tolerate the thought of him being released and had him killed. Reuters correspondent Lauren Anthony reports.
Maria Pevchik's comments on Monday echo accusations by Navalny's family and supporters that President Vladimir Putin had ordered his death. Speaking on YouTube, she said talks about exchanging Navalny and 2 unnamed US nationals for Vadim Krasikov, a Russian FSB security service hitman in jail in Germany for murder, were in their final stages at the time of his death. 47-year-old Navalny died at an Arctic penal colony on February 16th. Pevchik said she had confirmation that negotiations for the swap were in their final stages on the evening of February 15th.
Reuters correspondent Lauren Anthony. Prosecutors in former U.S. President Donald Trump's New York hush money case ask a judge to impose a gag order. AP correspondent Shelley Adler reports.
Citing what they call Donald Trump's long history of making public and inflammatory remarks about people involved in his legal cases, the Manhattan DA's office has asked for a narrowly tailored gag order ahead of next month's trial. That order would bar Trump from making or directing others to make public statements about potential witnesses and jurors, as well as statements meant to interfere with or harass the court's staff, prosecution team, or their families. The request did not include District Attorney Alvin Bragg. Jury selection in the case is scheduled to begin March 25th. I'm Shelley Adler.
Communications with the private U.S. moon lander Odysseus are expected to end on Tuesday, effectively cutting short its mission 5 days after touchdown, the company behind the spacecraft, Intuitive Machines, said on Monday. Company executives had told reporters the lander would be able to operate for about 9 or 10 days under a best-case scenario. However, the company acknowledged the spacecraft had landed sideways on the lunar surface following a navigation glitch, limiting exposure of the vehicle's solar panels to available sunlight.
Thank you for watching. Can you do me a favor? Please leave a comment in the comments section below. That would really help. Thank you, and see you again soon.